Blessed good morning and welcome to our devotions for today, Thursday. As we greet this new day, we open our hearts to God, asking that God may guide us through this day, allowing us to be filled with God's presence and God's love, assisting us as we seek to love our neighbor, as we seek to reach out into this world from a place of peace, place of love, enabling us to be of greater service in our world. And so we come now to our place of meditation, prayer, as we seek to spend these moments in God's presence. We come into our hearts, we come with a sense of gratitude and love, sense of peace, finding that space within us that enables us to be at peace with ourselves, enables us to feel God's presence with us, and help us to know that all is well. In this moment, in this very moment, there's nothing that we lack. We are whole. Let's therefore breathe into that space and to allow ourselves the opportunity to feel what that is like and to know God's presence in all things. As we listen to the gospel narrative, we hear Jesus speaking, where he says, "Very truly I tell you, we speak of what we know and testify to what we have seen, yet you do not receive our testimony. If I have told you about earthly things and you do not believe, how can you believe if I tell you about heavenly things? No one has ascended into heaven except the one who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. And just as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whoever believes in him may have eternal life. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, so that everyone who believes in him may not perish, but have eternal life. Indeed, God did not send the Son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him." So as we continue to reflect on this theme, love, our neighbor. We hear in this morning's passage the final words of Jesus, where he says that the Son of Man didn't come into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. So it's not a work of condemnation, but is a work of salvation. This underscores for me the theme for our week: love your neighbor. The Son of Man, by his very presence in the world, demonstrates for us the need for the love of neighbor. It was God's love that caused the incarnation of Jesus. It was God's love that enabled him to go through all that he went through for the purpose of saving our world. So this notion of loving one's neighbor is a notion that permeates the entire gospel narrative. No aspect of the gospel excludes the importance of love. Love of self, love of neighbor. So again, we are encouraged to explore in our own journey this call to love, to be able to find opportunity in our world to demonstrate who we really are as children of the divine, as bringers of love into this world. The same manner in which we would say that the Son of Man came into the world to save, we have to have an understanding in our own lives that we too have come into the world as a part of that work of salvation. Because each one of us that comes to that awareness of himself or herself as divine love participates in this work of salvation and enables the world to come closer to the place that God would have us. Each one of us contributes to the whole. And this is important, that we recognize that however small we may perceive our contribution, the fact is it is a necessary contribution. And because it is a necessary contribution, its absence causes a delay in the final or total work of God. So each of us, each one of us, is challenged day by day to live out the part that we have been asked to play as a bearer of love in the world, as one who has come to support this work of salvation. So today, as you go into your world, I want to remind you and encourage you to let today again be a day where you live mindfully, mindful of who you are, mindful of the task that God has called you to complete in this world. And in being mindful of that task, it then means that we do everything in our power not to allow others to persuade us or in any way to distract us from the task that we are called to complete. And the way that happens is when opportunities present themselves and we are unable to act from a place of love. When we are unable to act from a place of love, we find ourselves not loving our neighbor, and in so doing, not participating in this work of salvation, but in some way retarding the work and prolonging the work. Our task is to contribute. We are all, every single one of us, called to save the world, to join in this work of salvation. And every little action matters. No action derived from love goes unnoticed. No action is too small not to contribute. We know this. We know this in our world, or at times the smallest thing in a project, if it goes wrong, can destroy the entire work. So too, every one of us that does not fulfill the role of love in this world causes the project of salvation to be hampered. Jesus goes ahead of us as the example of what all this means. May we in our time contribute to the ongoing work of salvation in our world, in order that God's will may be done. God's will may be accomplished. That this world be a world filled with love.
A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you love one another as I have loved you. By this may all know you are my disciples, if you have love one for another. By this may all know you are my disciples, if you have love one for another. A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you love one another as I have loved you. By this may all know you are my disciples, if you have love one for another. By this may all know you are my disciples, if you have love one for another. A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you love